This is part 2 of Ibn Fibbin Footnotes Downfall. Grab some popcorn and Pepsi, my friends, while you're at it, and enjoy the end of his Dawah career. If there's an honest Muslim out there, unsubscribe and unfollow him on all of his social media accounts. Let's go.
شريعة مصاحة.
الشريعة السمحة.
مصاحة.
السمحة.
شريعة مصاحة.
الشريعة السمحة.
مصاحة.
سمحة.
شريعة مصاحة.
الشريعة سمحة.
شريعة مصاحة.
الشريعة السمحة.
Your trick destroyed. Destroyed.
Finished and done, eh? Uthman ibn Fibbin, you're the one who's finished, and you're the one who's done, and you're the one who's shameful deceiver like your God and your Prophet, appealing to a footnote written by a person alive today, pretending it's a hadith, and one that has a typo in it. And he's using the typo as his argument. Who uses Arabic typos as their argument? Or Uthman ibn Fibbin, the hadith graduate, student of knowledge.
I'm just a student of knowledge, bro. Go home, pick up your Nahu books.
We're gonna let him be judged and condemned by his own words.
You're misquoting things, and poor people that are watching your videos are being misguided because you don't know enough to actually look up the book. Destroy. If they said this is not a part of the hadith, no problem. Khalas, my bad. But this is not a lie, it's not a deception.
Brace yourself for brand new lies and deception in his panicked response video to the previous lie and deception that we exposed in our recent video about him. Please go back to our video titled Uthman ibn Fibbin claims a modern footnote is a hadith.
The ulama of Islam, based on these evidences, have said that Masih is a word that is used as a title. It can be referenced to any prophet.
Oh wow, he's doing it again. He's at it again, corrupting his own sources again. Why do you think he superimposed this block of writing at the bottom onto the page in the background? Do you see the writing on the bottom? It's a different font, different size letters, with no diacritical marks like on the background original. And he tried his best to match the background color to the one on the original page in the background. He's corrupting his own sources with something that's typed. And you can tell the spacing is different. And he's even highlighted the bit that he wanted in bold. It's so obvious that it's typed. And you'll be shocked to know where it came from. It didn't come from any book. It came from modern Muslim websites talking about what they think the Jews believe in, and quoting the Psalms and the Gospel.
What?
Sheikh Uthman's not debating anymore.
What do you mean?
Yeah, no more.
Well, we don't want to debate. We just want to chat about it, right?
He's not talking to you guys again. He's not gonna debate or whatever.
This is Daughter of Christ again, and this is part 2. An update for you, following Uthman ibn Fibbin's scandal when he made up a false hadith. This is to show you what exposing evil and deception has led to, and to encourage the brothers and sisters who share this information and challenge Dawah gangs on their own platforms and channels, and of course the brave brothers who went to face Uthman and to hold him accountable. To expose their shocking ignorance of the Arabic language, their inability to look up or even read their own sources, despite claiming qualifications and titles like Sheikh, and a lot of dawah money from their fellow Muslims. Following our video, lots of Muslims also realized that their beloved Sheikh Uthman has been fibbing. This one says, "May Allah reward you with good, Sheikh Yusuf, but the scholars didn't mention, to my knowledge, that Messiah means the chosen one. Your speech is to be doubted. I have never heard a hadith with more than one Messiah in it. The Messiah is one, Isa the son of Mary, peace be upon him, and Allah spoke directly to Moses, peace be upon him, only. I do not know of what benefit is this conversation, or where it would lead if Isa is the only Messiah or not. I do not understand what the Sheikh is talking about. We Muslims know that the word Messiah is exclusive to Isa, peace be upon him, only. Why does the Sheikh say all messengers are Messiahs? Is this an invention to insult the Christian evangelist? I have referred back to the source he pointed to in the Musannaf, and I could not find what he said. Well, it's not surprising this person couldn't find what the Sheikh said, because it's obvious they can read and write in Arabic, so they were probably looking in the body of the text where the hadiths are written, and not in the footnotes where editors write their notes. And we'll see here that the expertise of people commenting in his comment sections are a lot higher than his. Perhaps they should be Sheikh, and they should be in the park instead of him. This one says, Assalamu alaikum, my Sheikh Uthman. I could not find evidence for that talk in Musannaf ibn Abi Shayba. Please, who would guide me to the exact place of the evidence? This one says, when I went back to Musannaf Abi Shayba, the 6th volume, page 479, I could not find what Uthman is talking about. What is this nonsense? My brother Uthman, the word you mentioned that was in Musannaf Abi Shayba, al-Masha, it must be revisited. And I think the printed word is correctly pronounced as as-samha, and it is said as ash-sharia as-samha, and I could not find the term you mentioned in the hadiths, but in the explanatory comment by the editor, which he mentioned replying to the man-made laws and comparing it to the gentle Islamic sharia. If only that person was the sheikh in the booth answering questions and objections, he wouldn't have been in the mess that Uthman ibn Farooq is now. This one says, the sheikh specializes in hadith, as he said in previous videos. That means he must be very aware of the hadith books and their styles. I'm very surprised by this approach that shows intentional lying and corrupting. Islam was never in need of this kind of defense. What would harm him to say there is no source in the Quran or Sunnah describing prophets as Messiah? Or if he said, I do not know a source that describes prophets as such. I hope the Sheikh corrects his mistake and tells people that what he said about the quote-unquote hadith was actually the author's comment. And let's remember the hadith of the Prophet that says, whoever intentionally lies about me, let him take his chair in hellfire. And talking of comments, we did see a few asking us, why don't you confront him if you're so confident? Why don't you talk to him face to face? The lion of the Dawah. Yes, if you're a fan of this lion of the Dawah, whose turn has come to respond, please watch carefully. Those of you who look up to that fraud of a sheikh, watch what happened when our brothers went back to confront him.
Sheikh Uthman's at the masjid. He's not coming. He's not debating anymore, he said. He's not coming. He's not debating anymore, he said.
What?
Sheikh Uthman's not debating anymore.
What do you mean?
Yeah, no more.
Well, we don't want to debate. We just want to chat.
No more chat.
Oh.
So wait, is he not gonna?
No.
Yeah. He said that Uthman is saying that he won't talk anymore.
He's in itikaf. Like itikaf is like when you're in the masjid, you have to stay there. Like you have to be in for a day. So you can't leave. Like it's during the last 10 days of Ramadan. You go in the masjid and spend the night.
So why would he go today?
Today?
Yeah.
Because it started today, so we're not.
So he won't be here today.
Yeah, he's not coming. Yeah, he's not coming.
Come on.
No debating. Yeah.
All right. When is he coming back?
I don't like next Sunday.
So he'll be here next Sunday.
I
mean, obviously,
but he's
you
not
can't say
debating.
for
He's
sure.
not debating.
Inshallah, right?
He's not talking to you guys again. Like, he's not gonna like debate or whatever. Like,
and we have questions about the answer that he gave about that question. Yeah. I have questions about the paper he showed. He told me to look it up. He told me to bring the book. So here I am. Yeah. So he's gonna show me the book.
Yeah. Well, I guess he's not.
Did you see that? All you fans and supporters of Sheikh Uthman? What happened to the lion? I hate to break it to you. He deceived you. It's all hype. He created an image of a knowledgeable, brave sheikh. On his channel, he's a lion, but on the ground, he was nowhere to be seen. But he emerged online 3 days later with a response video, while he was still meant to be in the mosque hiding, in Atikaf, as pressure mounted on him to respond. His time of seclusion in Atikaf should have been for 10 days, remember? The last 10 days of Ramadan, which we are still in now.
So you can't leave. Like it's during the last 10 days of Ramadan, you go in the masjid and spend the night.
So did he break his atikaf, his special one-to-one time with Allah, just to make a video? Or was there no atikaf to start with, but simply a delay tactic to avoid facing it again while he scrambled in a panic to work out a way to save face when he saw that his lie was exposed? Anyway, let's have a look at the response video. It seems like it's become a full-time job for us to look up the sources after him and find fabrication after fabrication.
If they said this is not a part of the hadith, no problem. We can look at the actual printed book, and if it's not, khalas, my bad.
He's saying, if they say it's not part of the hadith. So he still doesn't know if it's part of the hadith or not? He's still not sure? Doesn't he have a master's in hadith? Shouldn't he have checked for sure before making the response video? He can't recognize that a note starting with "Dear Reader" at the bottom of the page is not a hadith? His own lay audience in his comments recognize it. A 10-year-old Arab boy would recognize it's not a hadith. Oh no, but they need to say it's not part of the hadith, and we need to go to the printed version. Yeah, big words to cover up such a horrible ignorance.
And if it's not, khalas, my bad.
Khalas, my bad. Shouldn't he say, may Allah forgive me? I repent. I'm sorry for claiming the Prophet said something he never did, which is a very serious thing, as his own followers said. For a sheikh, I would have expected him to say something like, Astaghfirullah, I beseech forgiveness from Allah. But instead he says, my bad. Is this a sheikh?
This is not a lie, it's not a deception. I printed it directly, as you can see, from Maktaba Shamil and took it to them.
It wasn't a lie or a deception? You sure about that? You forget that we have a picture of your paper. You said you printed it out as it was and brought it to us? No, you didn't. We've seen it, and it looks nothing like a page from a hadith book. Even though you have a master's in hadith, let me tell you how a normal page from a hadith book looks like. You have a body of text with hadiths, and then you have footnotes at the bottom of the page. And usually there's a space between the two sections and a dividing line. Have a look. Here's your footnote that you quoted from different publications. You see hadiths above, footnotes below, and there's a space and dividing line in between, which is nothing like the abomination that you showed us on your paper, where there was no space and no dividing line between the hadiths and the footnote. That paper was not printed out straight from a source. It was interfered with to bring together the wording of the footnote together with the wording of the hadith as if they were one, merging them together in an adulterous union that should have never happened. This was done on purpose, Uthman. You know it, and so do we. And now onto the new lie that we touched upon earlier. This is the page that he appealed to before he covered it up with his own typed comment, and it actually goes against him because it shows how Muslim commentators differed on what Messiah means. One, the top line, he said, Al-Masih, the Messiah, As-Siddiq, the righteous. The second opinion said, it means Musiha bil-Barakah, which means he was wiped with blessing. The third one from Al-Hasan al-Basri, it agrees. It said, his name is Al-Masih, meaning he was wiped with blessing. The fourth one here on the screen, it disagrees with the ones above and says, Al-Masih means Al-Malik, the king. All of them are describing the Messiah Al-Masih as a singular, meaning the Lord Jesus Christ, not meaning all the prophets. And they're all differing on what that title means. Unfortunately for him, Allah didn't know what Messiah meant, Muhammad didn't know what Messiah meant, and for hundreds of years afterwards, scholars and commentators differed on what the Messiah, singular word, meant, the one that belonged to Jesus Christ. None of them said, all the prophets are messiahs. That quote that he got, like we mentioned, was copied and pasted and slightly edited from a modern Muslim website describing what the Jews believed. And he edited the sentence to remove the part that said, the Messiah was a Jewish title mentioned in the Torah. But that's not a source. It's just Muslims talking on a website in an article. What is it with him and using modern people's words, pretending they're sources? Those are modern Muslims now talking about Jewish beliefs. What are you talking about? Again, shocking, panicked deception. Look here also at the Qurtubi tafsir of Surah 3 verse 45. Notice that it's not covered up by text that somebody typed, and it's not on a dodgy Word document that somebody printed. This is straight from the website. It says, quote, and the Messiah son of Mary is differed upon. It was said he wiped the earth, meaning he travelled without settling. Ibn Abbas said, لا يمسح ذا عاهة إلا برئ. He did not wipe a disabled one except he healed him. So he may have been called Messiah due to that. It was said because he was wiped with the ointment of blessing, and the prophets used to be wiped with it. And it was said he had smooth soles on his feet. And it was said because beauty wiped him, meaning it manifested in him. And it was said he was called that as he was wiped clean of sin. Notice the word wipe featured a lot here because the word wipe in Arabic, masaha, sounds like the Messiah, Masih. Those were poor Arabs guessing and trying to approximate the Hebrew word Messiah with the only language they knew, Arabic, because their ignorant false prophet didn't realize that Messiah was a Hebrew word that he put in his Arabic Quran without knowing what it means. And his ignorant alter ego Allah couldn't tell him or tell the Muslims, and so they have been guessing ever since. Muslims listening, if you want to know what the word Messiah means, come to the Bible. It is a Hebrew word, it is not Arabic. We again challenge Uthman ibn Farooq to show us in any credible book where it says all prophets are messiahs in Islam. It doesn't say that. Show us in a source that hasn't been made up or tampered with or doctored or had the page covered up by text that you type. Show us a source from Islam where it says all prophets are messiahs, or show us the plural of messiah, al-musahaya, the word, in any reference. You can't, because it doesn't exist. The one that you got was a typo in a footnote. Try again. Try again without deception this time. Can you do that? As for sincere Muslims who would like to know what Messiah really means, Messiah means savior. The Jewish people were looking for God to send a Messiah, an anointed one, a chosen one. In John 4, Jesus himself claimed to be the promised Messiah. When he spoke to the Samaritan woman, she said, "I know that Messiah is coming, who is called Christ. When he comes, he will tell us all things." Jesus said to her, "I who speak to you am he."
Let's go.
Oh, why you look nervous, bro? Relax, man. I got you.
You look nervous,
Do I
actually.
look nervous,
You
or
look
was he one
nervous.
shaking right now?
Yeah,
All right.
we're gonna have fun with
So,
this.
oh, we are.
We're gonna have fun with
We are.
Oh yeah, we are. Welcome everybody, God bless you all. Today we're going to be doing a review of the discussion between Uthman ibn Farooq, Uthman ibn Farooq, God Logic Apologetics, Daughter of Christ response video to this discussion, Uthman's response to that, and then Daughter of Christ follow-up. Before we get into it, I just want to say what we're going to see today from Uthman is nothing short of deception, miscitations, misrepresentations. This guy is a straight up fabricator. There's no way around it. After you see this video, you're going to know for a matter of fact that this guy is a fabricator, a deceiver, and a fraud.
In the Musannaf of Ibn Abi Shayba, volume number 6, page number 479. In the Musannaf of Ibn Abi Shayba, volume number 6, page number 479. This is the hadith sanadan.
What you're about to see is Uthman quoting a hadith, attributing it to Omar, and then he skips down to a footnote and claims that the footnote is from Omar. And the footnote has a typo in it. The typo in the footnote, not in the actual hadith, is what he's basing his entire argument on.
حدثنا أبو بكر حدثنا الوكيع المبارك الحسن عن عمر.
Whoa, hold on. Why is he saying the chain of the hadith with all the names and then not reading the words of the hadith and going straight to the footnote pretending it is the hadith?
This is Umar ibn Khattab reporting the hadith. You know Umar ibn Khattab. Umar. It says وتخليص هذا الضرب والتعذير هذا بيننا من شريعة مصاحة. Masah, Meen, Seen, Ha, Alif, Hamza. It says that this punishment, where about different crimes and things, has been handed down to us from the laws of all of the Masiihs.
Is he trying to attribute the chains to the words of the modern editor who wrote the footnote at the bottom? It says, فانظر عزيزي القارئ إلى عظيم شرائع الإسلام. So see, dear reader, how great the laws of Islam are. أن القوانين الوضعية في عصرنا الراهن قد اتجهت هذا الاتجاه بعد كثير معاناة وطول عذاب للناس. That man-made laws of our time have moved towards that direction after much suffering and torture of the people. وما زالت بعض البلاد إلى الآن لم تتخلص من عادة الضرب والتعذيب هذه، بينما الشريعة المسحاء قد جاءتنا بهذا الحكم واضحا سهلا. And some countries have still, until now, not got rid of the habit of beating and torture, but the gentle Sharia has brought us this ruling, clear and easy.
Wow, so what's actually being attributed to Omar in the hadith is the saying, warn the thief, but do not cause him to fear. Then there's a footnote from a modern editor that comments on the word flogging, and he's talking about how you have the Islamic law compared to the quote-unquote man-made laws of today, in today's world. Uthman is skipping over all of those details in the footnote that make reference to the Christian Inquisition, details in the footnote that say, dear reader. And this is all being skipped over. This is all being attributed to Omar. everything else that would point to the fact that this is a footnote is being skipped over. How deceptive, how scandalous, what a fraud.
Laws of all of the Messiah. All of the prophets are called Masah. Here, Musannaf ibn Abi Shayba, volume number 6, page number 479. I just brought you evidence with volume, with page number, for the sanad that shows that all of the earlier prophets' Sharia was called Masah. Laws of the Messiah, which is all of the Anbiya. Laws are not revealed to other than Prophet. It is revealed to who? Prophet. Because nobody gets a Sharia except prophets. Go home and look it up. So that point that you were making is dead now, because I've proven it from hadith. They're finished. Done. As Muhammad Hijab said, your trick destroyed. Masah mean, seen.
No, my friend, a Sharia is known all over the Arab world as a Sharia Samha, and some people use the more correct term, a Sharia Samha. Let me show you. It is not a Sharia al-Masha, as the typo said. It is a Sharia as-Samha. Starts with a sin, an S sound for the non-Arabs. Not with the meme, the M sound for the Messiah. It starts with an S, a sin.
Amazing job, Daughter of Christ. Thank you so much for breaking that down. God bless you.
Graduated from the Islamic University of Islamabad with a master's focused in hadith.
Uthman, a master's in hadith studies? Is anybody really gonna believe that a guy with a master's degree in hadith studies is gonna make this mistake? You read the chain of a hadith, you skipped over the hadith itself, and then your eyes wandered down the page to a footnote that contains a typo, which, by the way, even if the typo read the way that you thought it did, it still wouldn't translate to the law of the Messiahs, but we'll get into that. Is someone with a master's degree in hadith studies actually going to make this mistake? No, you thought you wouldn't get caught, but you are busted. You got caught. Daughter of Christ caught you. You did a response video. He got sloppy again. He fabricated again. The deception is high again. Daughter of Christ responded to that, and we're going to get into this all right now. But I just want to make this very, very, very clear. He deceived. He thinks just by saying, khalas, my bad. No. That's not your bad. You lied. You got caught. Your dawah, everything you do should be questioned. Your sources, everything you put up should now be questioned. You are a fabricator. You're not to be trusted.
So I'm going to scan and put those evidences in this video as well, so that any other missionary that tries to fool or trick a Muslim, the Muslims will have these evidences to show them. So what does al-Masih mean? Here from al-Ma'ani, from the famous Arabic dictionary, it shows al-Masih, it is somebody who's anointed, somebody who is blessed, somebody who is a king or a prophet. It can be used for prophets generally.
Guys, he literally did it again. Imagine. The video that he's responding to is accusing him of being a fabricator, being someone who edits sources, being someone who's a deceiver and a liar. So what does he do to respond to that? He deceives, he edits, he fabricates once again. You can see on the top right there, that's where his dictionary entry ends. Why does he stop it there when the full entry actually isn't complete? Because he's trying to be deceptive. He's trying to say that this dictionary is saying that within Islam, within the Islamic usage, that Messiah can be applied to kings, it can be applied to prophets. No, that's not what it says. What he left out from the entry actually says this definition is in Jewish and Christian traditions. It's not Islamic. This is not giving you an Islamic definition. And by the way, this dictionary is not a theological dictionary, and this definition is not even accurate. But the source you're using isn't even saying that in Islam, any prophet or any king can be called the Messiah or a Messiah. What it's saying is that within Jewish and Christian traditions, that kings and prophets can be called Messiahs. Again, guys, he's lying, he's fabricating, he's trying to deceive. Don't fall for his dawah to deception. The very video he's doing to say he's not a fabricator, he's not a liar, he's actually fabricating and lying. He's the deceiver, he's the deceptive missionary that he's complaining about. He's the one trying to trick you, he's the one trying to fool you. Muslims, pay attention, check the sources. Do not trust him. He's a liar, he's a fabricator.
Academics, we don't Google. I used Maktaba Shamila, brought it with me, that showed it as a part of the hadith. If they say that no, this is a print error, then no problem. We can contact Darul Kutub Ilmiya and say you have a print error. If they say this is not a part of the hadith, no problem. We can look at the actual printed book, and if it's not, khalas, my bad. But this is not a lie, it's not a deception. I printed it directly, as you can see from Maktaba Shamila, and took it to them.
So here he is again in his response video saying if it's a print error, if they say it's not a part of the hadith, look at the screenshot you're posting. Get an Arab on your team to tell you what it's saying. It's saying in our times. It's talking about the laws that are in our times that are moving towards the direction. It's talking about contrasting the Islamic law to the laws that are quote-unquote man-made. And it's going on to talk about how there are some countries until now. Do you really think Omar is saying the laws of our times until now have suffered so much, they torture the people, and some countries till today until now have not gotten rid of the habit or the custom of torturing and beating people? Do you really think Omar was saying that? Just read the screenshot. How are you going to say if they say it's not a part of the hadith? It's clearly not a part of the hadith. Read the screenshot you have on the screen. This guy is so deceptive, so ludicrous. I can't believe anyone takes him seriously. This guy has a master's degree in hadith studies. Again, a master's degree in hadith studies, and he doesn't know that this is a footnote. He doesn't know that this isn't a hadith. And we'll get into the print error. We'll get into that a little later, but I just want to emphasize one more time. He's putting into question still if this is a hadith or if it's a footnote. And then he shows a screenshot of the source he quoted. In the quotation that's on the screen, it begins by saying, in our times. Of course, it's someone commenting today, talking about how things are today in our times. Unbelievable. Now we're going to get into how we can know for 100% sure that it cannot be translated the way Uthman translated it, the law of the messiahs.
Laws of all of the messiahs.
In Arabic, there's something called al-idafa.
As Muhammad Hijab said,
you have to understand basic rules of grammar of Arabic. Idafa.
Sharia, masaha. Sharia, masaha.
I will help you.
Sharia, masaha.
الشريعة السمحة.
Masaha.
السمحة.
Sharia, masaha.
الشريعة السمحة.
Masaha.
سمحة.
I brought it with me that showed it as a part of the hadith. If they say that no, this is a print error, then no problem. We can contact Darul Kutub Ilmiya and say you have a print error. If they say this is not a part of the hadith, no problem.
Idafa is go to a basic Arabic textbook. What is mudaf? Mudaf ilayh is the first thing the Arab students learn. Let's not waste my time with this. Idafa means.
What this means is when you have a phrase or a term in this possessive state, which the law of the messiahs would be in, the rule is that you cannot have the definite article on the first noun. Now, in the original discussion, Uthman seemed to show and demonstrate that he had some knowledge of Arabic grammar. He was stating that there are things like indefinite articles and definite articles, and he was stating things like there's definite nouns and indefinite nouns, and he was using Arabic terminology, giving the impression that he knows what he's talking about.
So it's not like this is nakira. This is also ma'rif, the messiahs, meaning each one of them is going to take that title with ma'rifah. It also rings the al here, right? So don't think this is anything different.
If he does know what he's talking about, if he does know Arabic grammar, then here's another example of him being deceptive. If he doesn't know, then he shouldn't be using Arabic sources in the first place. To demonstrate this rule, I gave a number of words that even if you're not an Arabic speaker, you probably recognize and you probably would have heard of if you deal with Muslims and with Islam. So the first word on the list is Kalimatullah. Kalimatullah means the word of God, the word of Allah. You'll see here that the first word, kalima, actually doesn't have the definite article before it. It's not al-kalimatullah, it's kalimatullah. In this state, when you have the word of God, just like if you would have the law of the messiahs, then the first word cannot take the definite article. Rasulullah, not al-Rasulullah. It's not a-Rasulullah, it's Rasulullah, without the definite article. Ahl al-Kitab, Ahl al-Injil, the same thing here. It's not al-Ahl, not the people, it's ahlu, meaning indefinite noun without the article. al-Kitab, not al-Kitab, the mother of the book. Amir al-Mu'mineen, the leader of the believers, not al-Amir. In all of these examples, you can see that you never have the definite article before the first noun. If you want to have it in the of state or the possessive state like that, then you cannot have the definite article before the first noun. Uthman should know this if he's trying to flex his knowledge of Arabic grammar. If he doesn't know, then he shouldn't be using Arabic sources. And once again, this is a footnote, not the hadith. This is not what Omar said. And once again, this is a footnote. This is not even the hadith. And in the footnote, it doesn't say anything about the law of anything. It doesn't say the law of the messiahs. Ash-shari'atul musahha does not make any sense at all in Arabic. And it's clearly ash-shari'atul samha. Again, if you wanted to say the law of the messiahs, you would say shari'atu al-musahha, not ash-shari'atu. It's impossible to make it say the law of the messiahs as it's written. Uthman pretending to know Arabic or lying, I'm not sure here, but he's definitely a fraud, definitely a deceiver, and he cannot be trusted. He gives false information like this all the time. And if I were to make the video go on and on and on and on, I could show you error after error after error. I encourage you to go back to the videos of DCCI Ministries. Daughter of Christ lays out very clearly the main points where he's lying. Of course, even those are limited because he lies so much. We have to prioritize and show what are the most important things to point out. In short, wrapping up, he cannot be trusted. Jesus is Lord. Islam is false. Islam requires you to lie. Jesus is the truth. He doesn't want you to lie. You don't need to lie for the truth.